Part 1. Ethan Carter had a reputation that followed him everywhere. At 24, he was known as the troublemaker of Brookfield. He skipped responsibilities, spent his nights racing motorcycles, and never stayed in one job for long. Parents warned their daughters about him. Shop owners watched him carefully whenever he entered their stores. Even people who barely knew him had already formed opinions. To most of the town, Ethan was simply a bad boy. The label didn't bother him. At least, that's what he told himself. One rainy afternoon, Ethan was riding his motorcycle through town when he noticed a crowd gathering near a small bookstore. Curious, he slowed down and saw an elderly man lying on the sidewalk. People stood around watching. Some called for help, but nobody moved. Without thinking, Ethan parked his bike and pushed through the crowd. The old man was struggling to breathe. "Someone call an ambulance," Ethan shouted. A woman replied that she already had. Ethan removed his jacket and placed it under the man's head. "It's okay," he said. "Help is coming." The elderly man gripped his hand tightly. A few minutes later, paramedics arrived and took over. As Ethan stood up, rain dripping from his hair, he noticed a young woman watching him from the bookstore doorway. She had kind eyes and chestnut-colored hair. For a moment, neither spoke. Then she smiled. It was a simple smile. But for some reason, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about it. The woman was Lily Morgan. She worked at the bookstore owned by her grandmother. Unlike Ethan, Lily was admired by nearly everyone in town. She volunteered at community events, helped neighbors whenever she could, and seemed to bring warmth wherever she went. Their worlds couldn't have been more different. A week later, Ethan visited the bookstore. He didn't read much. He had no reason to be there. Yet somehow he found himself walking through the door. Lily looked up from arranging books. "You're the guy who helped that man." Ethan shrugged. "Anyone would have done it." Lily smiled. "No, most people just watched." For the first time in years, Ethan felt awkward. He wasn't used to compliments. He spent nearly an hour wandering the aisles pretending to look at books. Before leaving, he bought a novel he had no intention of reading. The next day he came back. Then again the day after that. Eventually Lily noticed. "You don't really like books, do you?" Ethan laughed. "Is it that obvious?" "A little." Their friendship started with simple conversations. They talked about movies, music, dreams, and childhood memories. For the first time, someone seemed interested in who Ethan was beneath the reputation. Lily never treated him like a criminal. She never judged him for his past mistakes. And that scared him more than any fight he'd ever been in. One evening they sat outside the bookstore watching the sunset. "Why does everyone think you're a bad person?" Lily asked. Ethan stared at the horizon. "Because it's easier." "Easier than what?" "Easier than getting to know me." Lily remained silent. After a moment she said softly, "I don't think you're bad." Those words stayed with him long after she went home. Weeks turned into months. The friendship deepened. Ethan began making changes without realizing it. He stopped getting into fights. He found steady work at a repair garage. He spent fewer nights racing and more evenings talking with Lily. His friends noticed. "So the bookstore girl changed you?" One of them joked. Ethan denied it, but secretly he knew the truth. Lily wasn't changing him. She was helping him become the person he'd always wanted to be. Not everyone approved. Lily's father, Richard Morgan, strongly disliked Ethan. Richard owned one of the largest businesses in town and valued reputation above everything. When he learned his daughter was spending time with Ethan, he was furious. "That boy is trouble," he warned. "You don't know him," Lily replied. "I know enough. People can change." Richard shook his head. "Not people like him." The argument continued for weeks. The more Richard objected, the more determined Lily became. Meanwhile Ethan struggled with his own doubts. One night he stood outside the bookstore after closing. "Lily, maybe your father is right." She frowned. "What do you mean? You deserve someone better." Lily stared at him. "Is that what you think?" Ethan looked away. "Look at me. Look at my past." "I am looking at you." "No, you're looking at who I want to become." Lily stepped closer. "And what's wrong with that?" For a moment neither spoke. The distance between them felt smaller than ever. Then Lily gently took his hand. "I don't care who you used to be." Ethan's heart raced. "I care about who you are now." The world seemed to stop. Slowly, he leaned forward. Lily did the same. Their first kiss was soft and brief. Yet it changed everything. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt truly seen. Not judged, not feared, seen. Their relationship blossomed. They spent weekends exploring nearby towns. They laughed over shared meals. They dreamed about the future. For a while, happiness felt possible. Then the past returned. One evening Ethan received a call from an old friend named Travis. Years earlier they had been involved in reckless activities together. Now Travis wanted Ethan's help with something illegal. Ethan refused, but Travis wasn't willing to accept no. "You owe me," Travis said. "I don't owe you anything. Think carefully." The threat was clear. A few days later, money disappeared from a local business. Witnesses claimed they saw Ethan nearby. Rumors spread rapidly. People whispered. Old accusations resurfaced. Even though he was innocent, few believed him. Richard Morgan seized the opportunity. "I warned you," he told Lily. But Lily refused to abandon Ethan. "I trust him." Unfortunately, trust wasn't enough. The police began investigating. Customers stopped visiting the garage where Ethan worked. His employer grew concerned. Everything he had built suddenly stood on the edge of collapse. One rainy night Ethan sat alone on a park bench. The future he'd imagined with Lily seemed to be slipping away. Then he heard footsteps. Lily sat beside him. Neither spoke for a long moment. Finally Ethan said quietly, "Maybe this is how the story ends." Lily looked at him. "No, what if nobody believes me?" "I do. What if that's not enough?" Lily squeezed his hand. "Then we'll keep fighting." Ethan stared at her. The storm around them seemed insignificant compared to the one inside his heart. For the first time, he realized how much he loved her. But danger was growing closer. Travis wasn't finished. The false accusations were only the beginning. And soon Ethan would face a choice that could cost him everything, including the woman he loved. To be continued.